What's up, everybody? We are back with some more disc golf coverage from here in the Pacific Northwest. We got the 2020 Race for the Cup. I'm the Disc Golf Nerd, and I am joined with Scott Withers. Scott, what's up, man?
Oh, not much. We got done doing our podcast a little bit ago. Figured we'd do some commentary on a tournament from last weekend that was a combination of Timberland Park in Albany and then Waterloo Park in Lebanon, Oregon, which is where this round was filmed at.
Right on, and this is the final round, correct?
Correct, it is. It was a 2-round tournament because of social distancing requirements. It was 1 round a day, so it was a C tier, but it brought quite a few players out in the Northwest. It was a pretty full field, so it was kind of cool to see everything getting back rolling.
Right on, right on. Yeah, I'm not actually familiar with this course, so I'm interested to see what it looks like. And
yeah, so
let's get into it. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. So heading into the final round, you are in the lead at 12 down. Got quite a few strokes on Jake.
Yeah, so Waterloo, as we get into it, is a very technical course. You're going to see most of the shots have initial gaps to hit. Hole 1, this is in long settings, as most of this course was, about 385 feet, so a little bit tougher. I'm trying to throw a Star Lion here, and I just kind of rolled it over. But hole 1 is kind of a mini bonus hole if you can pick it up, so it was cool to see some of the guys get some good drives off on this one.
Nice. Here is Jake Gravelin. He's going to go with a little bit lower line here.
Yeah, Jake out of Northern California said he used to live in the San Diego area and moved up to Northern California here recently so he could travel in between. And then Brian is from Salem, so he lives about half an hour north of this course, and he is counting down the days till Masters, he says, but he's still really competing in the MPO division.
Nice. And then we have DJ Herrington here.
Yep, DJ's a kid that actually grew up with me in Coos Bay, Oregon, a small town on the coast, and he was playing with me a lot when he was a teenager. Moved up to go to Oregon State, up into the Albany, Corvallis area, and now is getting good in a hurry. So, as you can see, I'm laying up after my not great drive on hole 1.
Nice. Yeah, it looked like DJ put a pretty good move on that one. Got around the corner nicely.
Push with the palm.
Yep, Brian with the putt there. He's a super solid 980 to 990 guy, always floating in between there. DJ is 976 rated, I think, at this point, but he is definitely on the upswing. I imagine that he'll be in the 990s by the end of the year. I think he was a little nervous on camera for the first time. I think it might have been the first time for all 3 of these guys being on camera.
Yeah, it kind of looked like it there, but that's okay. Ooh, a little high. That one's a good catch.
Yeah, Jake finishing out a really good birdie on hole 1 to get within 5 and make, start to make it interesting a little bit. I knew at this point that I had a pretty good lead, but Waterloo is such a weird course and there's so many trees that you do have to push the whole time, and you're going to have to make birdies to stay ahead. So everyone else cleaning up their pars here on hole 1.
Yeah, nice low line on that throw there. So Jake with the lone birdie, and like you said, he picked up one on you there right out of the gate, so hopefully make it a little interesting as we head into hole 2. What are we looking at here?
Hole 2 is a really weird hole. It's a forehand or high backhand turnover. There's not really a gap to get through, and this time of year, this tournament's in the middle of June. You can see the course is a forest right now. There is overhanging leaves and branches everywhere. Jake's going to go forehand, which most people are on this. And it's really common. He actually gets the line pretty well right, but then you got to get over this little crest of a hill. It's, real tough to get one right next to this pin. So I'm throwing a really stable PD2 on this, just trying to get in as far right as possible. And is a decent shot, but it just pushes too far straight like a lot of them do.
Yeah, it looks like a very technical line here.
Yeah, without looking at the scoring statistics for this hole, I really wouldn't doubt that this is one of the 3 or 4 least birdied holes on the course, even though it's under 300 feet. It's just really tough to actually get a disc onto the putting area. Everything tends to end up at like 50 or 60 feet, and you'll see we have some of those jumpers coming up, and then DJ straightens his Firebird out here, which is not what you want to do, and he's really kind of thrown it into the jungle, and will have work to do, honestly, to save par out of that position.
Yeah, this particular year in Oregon is just everything is so lush and so thick right now. It's pretty impressive out there.
Yeah, you can see DJ just trying to jump putt through a gap, and he doesn't get through. He only advanced it about 30 feet. Jake giving it a decent run from probably 60. It's in that range where you're not going to make a lot, and then this is where DJ's third is from now. and lays up, and then we'll take the kind of disappointing bogey on this hole, but it's one of those that you can get in trouble on.
Yeah, it looks like it.
I went from a day at Timberland the day before where I was making all my putts, big jumpers and that kind of stuff, and then that first one didn't come off my hand real well and threw up the air ball from about 45 feet, which will lead to a tap in for par, just the same as Jake and Brian are getting. So a little bit of a slow start. It's not the easiest starting set at this hole. The course definitely opens up for more birdies later, but technical wooded courses, you got to hit your line right off the tee, and that's absolutely what Waterloo is.
All right, moving on to hole 3.
Yeah, hole 3. This is the deep setting on this hole also, 305 feet. You really have to throw this backhand and get it moving right early. You can go mid-range, you can go fairway. I think Jake was going fairway, and I'd imagine he wasn't going for that straight gap to try to throw it up the middle, instead trying to probably throw the ante around the outside. I went back to the Star Lion again, which I've been throwing a lot. This time it does the stable thing and just leads straight into kind of the collection area where everything else does. This is a really cool hole to pick up as a birdie, and you're going to see Brian basically the same thing mine does. It goes into the collection area. He was really close and he knew it. He just kind of clipped that last limb coming out, or he may have had a putt.
Yeah, it looked like Jake had the angle of release, but kind of just missed inside a little bit more. And DJ's continuing to struggle just a little bit here, but it's early.
Yeah, a little bit off early for DJ. Jake's got a lot of work left here to save par and throws a really good upshot there. But I think for DJ and Brian, for sure, the nerves were a little bit in play early, having not had a camera round. And this is DJ's first time actually on lead card at any tournament. So, only stepped up to pro this year or maybe late last year. So there's some learning experiences that are still going on. And then you throw the camera on there when we didn't know we were going to be videotaped until honestly the day of, and maybe for some of those guys 10-15 minutes before the round. So I don't know if that's better or worse, if you sleep on knowing you're on video, because it does get nerve-wracking, or if it's better to just find out 10 minutes before and say, all right, well, let's go play.
Right. Yeah, that's a tough call. It's definitely not like a Pro Tour event or something like that where being on lead card, you know to expect that added pressure. So yeah, it's kind of sprung it on these guys, but they're battling, they're doing their thing, and we're moving on to hole 4. Seems like a little shorty here.
Yeah, we finally get into what I would consider the first real birdie hole out of this. Just because the other 3 were shorter doesn't mean they were necessarily easy holes. This is the hole where you can grab anything from putter to a slower fairway driver, maybe like a T-Bird speed or somewhere in that area, T-Bird, Eagle, something like that. I'm throwing a star stud here. The hole's only 260 feet. It's a disc that I'm throwing pretty much like a mid-range. I throw it instead of rocks in a lot of different cases. It can handle the power. It just happens to be the right distance for this hole. Brian actually throws, I believe, a TL here. So he's going a little faster disc and just trying to control the height. And then DJ also going with a star stud. Like I said, we play together a lot, and he's got some of the old discs out of my bag, so you'll see us throwing pretty similar shots on a lot of holes here.
Very nice. I actually haven't thrown a stud before. That's one of the ones that kind of slipped through the cracks on me. I've tested and reviewed a lot of discs, but that's not one of them for some reason. Oh, what do we got going on here?
Brian's getting in a fight with a bunch of ants.
Oh, no.
Currently. So he was trying to figure out if they were fire ants, which I don't think they were, or if they were just regular ants. But he's got them all over his disc and all over his foot, and I think he's putting with them crawling on his foot right now. But bangs a putt. You can see him trying to pick it up to get out of the little ant farm real quick. But then everyone picking up birdies on this hole. So
yeah, it looks like everybody. It looks like you guys did what you had to do for the star frame on that one. Just get one down there and tap it in. Seems pretty straightforward.
Welcome to lead card. We can actually do something. Let's get a star frame and get this round going.
Yeah, let's get it working. So I'll get you under par for the first time early on in the round here, and we're moving on to hole 5.
Yeah, hole 5, very similar shot actually to the last one, much more visually appealing of a hole. Your true tunnel hole, your true Oregon tunnel hole. There's some trees to beat, there's some branches and some leaves that hang over. In reality, you're just trying to throw a mid or a putter straight up the gut. Jake goes fairway driver, turns it over into the one area that you can kind of get in trouble. on the hole, but I'm reaching for that same star stud that I threw last hole, trying to throw the same shot, and it's going to just kind of get the slow fade, battle through a limb or two, and end up kind of right where you want to be.
Nicely executed there. When you get into a flow with a disc, do you tend to just keep going to that same disc, even if it might change your game plan, just because you're feeling that particular mold at the time, or is it something that you always know what you're going to throw when you get to the tee?
I'm a very feel-based player, I would say, so I can have a total game plan and go in and then stand on the tee and be like, heck with that, I'm going to do something else. Maybe I'll throw forehand in a hole that I haven't done it before, whatever. For me, I think it's whatever's feeling good that day. So like you were saying, I may have a game plan to throw like an MD3 or something on this hole, but if the stud came off good on the previous hole and it's basically the same shot, I'll probably just reach to it and throw it again.
Nice. Yeah, I think that makes sense. When you're feeling a disc, or if it just is connecting with your throw that day, sometimes it's good to just go to something you know is working well. And there's DJ cleaning up.
Yeah, Brian doing the same. These are where your normal good drive.
Yeah, that's
Want to birdie this hole, I would say it's one of the easier ones on the course. Jake, a really good upshot out of a tricky spot. The camera didn't quite do that one justice and how thick it actually was in there, but he took his time, got in, and found a little gap to pitch through, and then I'll end up cleaning up from right next to where DJ and Brian were, but now we've got some birdies on the card. It's starting to feel like we're actually playing, and, you know, we're going into the part of the course that you definitely want to score on, so it was cool to pick those two up back-to-back.
Okay, we're moving on to hole 6 here. This graphic here is a little bit misleading. We're actually playing just straight down, straight at it, correct?
Yeah, the one that they're showing on camera is the alternate. This is like the easiest hole in the course. I'm taking my glow gator out and deciding just to let it slip completely out of my hand, end up 40 feet short, and then I look at my hand, not understanding what happened. I should have just blamed myself instead of blaming.
Great shot. Thank you, Withers.
Look pretty clean there.
Yeah, DJ throwing a P-line P2 here. He's going to leave it like 35 short. This is one of those holes that I said earlier, I was like, par on this hole feels like a bogey, and a birdie feels like a par, and then Jake finds the only way to have to actually scramble for par on this hole, and then does that.
Yeah, it could be definitely some camera jitters there for Jake. Just, it's tough. Sometimes you have that one thing in front of you, and maybe it's the last thing you think of right before you let go, and then you get yourself into some trouble. And he's just going to have to kind of pitch this up and down now.
Yeah, going to lay up, take that bogey. It was weird. It was one of those days that was super muggy outside. We get them in the Pacific Northwest every once in a while, but I feel like we were all complaining throughout the round about the grip issues that we were having. Either your hand was too dry or it was too sticky or whatever, so maybe you can see it on my jump putting as I've now airballed both little step putts that I've taken. But DJ, after his drive that was a little early left's got this 25-footer to get that birdie and to get 3 in a row and kind of get his round really on the right direction.
Yeah, started off a little bit cold, but he's definitely turning around now. Now he is in position to continue the battle for second place here, with Jake taking the unfortunate 4 here. And Brian has very easy work to clean up his 2 and move on. What are you putting with, Scott?
So I'm putting with Glow D-line P2s. They're actually some that I just stole from DJ when he stopped using them. Like I said, we play together all the time. We've played together for a long time. He beat some Glow D-line P2s up for me and my other D-line P2s that I'd been using for a couple years. Got a little flippy. I stole these when he was done with them and been putting pretty well with them. So I like the no bead. I like the stability that the P2 brings and the fact that I can throw them and putt with them comfortably.
Yeah, definitely a versatile mold. We see a lot of players using those. And we are moving on here. Brian's going with the forehand, and that looks early?
Real early, real inside, and has a lot of work left to save par at this point. This is kind of a mandatory forehand unless you want to throw a high turnover backhand. The line down the right side is not a play. You have to throw this forehand or turnover if you want any chance to get it there, and then DJ does the opposite of what Brian does and ends up on a walking path way to the left.
See if you can split the difference here. What are you going with?
Yeah, it's a PD2. Anytime I'm throwing real stable stuff, I've got a blue C-line PD2 and then a white S-line PD2 in the bag. That one was pretty left off my hand and kind of got lucky around one tree and then ended up just in a collection area. You can see real pleased with the effort on that one.
Yeah, you look very stoked there. Let's see what Jake can do, see if he can recover.
Jake's got a gigantic forehand, and we didn't know it. This is the first time any of us have played with him, but he's throwing Boss's forehand mainly, and he just crushes them.
Yeah,
It's cool to see they come off flat and they come off real hot.
Yeah, he ripped that one. A lot of speed on that shot.
Yeah, you can see how bad DJ's kick was. He's still throwing a full upshot. And then Brian's down here on the right side, which has a lot more trees in the way than what DJ had, but is a little bit closer. Not where you want to be in your drive for either of these guys.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in the way here. This looks like a tricky up and down, and he definitely caught something on the way in. See if he can finally get it up to the green, but ooh, caught another one there.
Yeah, he's hacking his way up this hole. We've all been there. Anytime you're playing wooded courses, sometimes you get holes that just get in your way, and it feels like you can never get up there. I ended up in that 40, 45-foot range, and not really something that, you would like to make it, but you're not really expecting to make it on this hole, with how much of a hill is behind. Jake, kind of same thing. Just laying up, throwing it low, making sure we can take that par and move on. Now Brian's got this for 4.
Oh, man, goes up and over the mound, and he's still got some work to do.
Yeah, he rolled down right next to where DJ's second shot ended up, so they're going to have a putting battle from down here. It's pretty uphill. I would say their head is probably at ground level for where the basket is. So DJ really converts on a sweet par save on that one to pick up 2 shots on Brian if Brian makes this.
Oh, finally stops the bleeding on this one.
Yep. And you can see scoring separation. People are jumping up and down. This the wooded course. It's really tight. You're going to see birdies and you're going to see bogeys. And then Jake just cleaning up his par putt. His seemed a lot more routine than whatever DJ and Brian were doing there. But he gets the same score as DJ. And then we're waiting to tap out. I think I was yelling at my buddy Jumbo Slice, Sean Rosario. A little bit of trash talk back and forth from hole to hole, I guess.
Moving on to hole 8, another par 3.
Yep, I think there's only one par 4 out here. So this hole is I threw a super, super dead DX rock that I was trying to throw on a straight like Spike Heiser and get it to flip up and glide. And it kind of did. It was just too low. And then you're going to see Jake taking out fairway driver again and trying to throw a pure hyzer with it. The camera angle makes it kind of tough to see what's actually going on. He split a gap in a tree that the tee pad kind of leads to, but he got to the same place that mine did, so he'll have a putt.
Looks like Brian got caught up a little bit right before the green there.
Yep, same thing. Did they miss DJ's drive, or did he go first? He went first. He threw it to, 35, 40 feet. Good effort off the cage. And then all 3 of us are in this little collection area putting for birdie.
Oh, great hit there by Jake.
Yep, right on the pole, too.
Yeah, that was a beautiful connection there. Looked good right out of the hand. You knew that was going in.
Now I've got to step up behind that. His was probably 35 feet. I think I'm more in the 30-foot range with some stuff in the way, but
no problem there. A little bit right side, but caught it no problem.
Yeah, I think we were joking afterwards because Jake's putt was so pure, and then I hit such strong side right, and I was laughing at him like, hey, they both count the same, even though yours was perfect.
Right. Brian, not quite. He's able to connect there. Looks like you got some loose chains on this bucket, huh?
Yeah, these aren't great. They're old Mach 3s, I think. Maybe Mach 5s. I don't know what. I think they're Mach 5s that they've added some chains to, but there's some danglers on there, and you can get kind of the pole bounce outs. You can get kind of the spit throughs on these baskets. So they're not the ideal perfect baskets, but they're what we tend to have on a lot of courses in the Albany, Corvallis, Lebanon area. Adair's got these, Bryant's got these, Waterloo's got these. So if you play here all the time, you're pretty used to having to have your putts moving kind of down into the cage.
Yeah, and that's okay. It's all part of the game, you know. I like that little bit of variety there. and having to kind of vary your speed control a little bit, just be a little bit cognizant of the type of basket you're playing on. It's an interesting aspect of disc golf.
Get away from that.
This hole 9 is a brand new setting, and it's usually a par 3 that's off to the left, kind of where you see the path going toward. This hole is crazy. It's like 575 feet, I think is what they listed at. DJ and Jake, I think it was DJ and Jake, they just threw great drives that ended up in the perfect spot.
Yeah.
And then Brian basically does the same thing. It's like you throw the shot to there, and then it's so much farther than you think it is. And it was the first time any of us played it. Jake actually got caught up on the left, but I would guess there was probably less than 5 birdies on this hole all day. Even though the second shot really doesn't have that much stuff in the way, but it's one of those brand new holes that still needs to be beat in a lot. And no one had played it. We didn't know how far it was, so I chose to put myself right against the tree and try not to smash my hand as I throw one of my Tour Series Exodus for my second shot.
Yeah, it's always tough to try to adjust to a brand new pin position or just a new hole that you're not familiar with. Sometimes it's really tricky when you don't exactly know where to go, and it's always frustrating to kind of have to play in the middle and just kind of go like, all right, well, I think this is good, and hope for the best.
Yeah, Jake threw a second right in the middle, so he's still trying to get up and down. Still maybe has a fairway driver in his hand, honestly. Threw it pretty soft, though, so he had the 120-footer. DJ left it about 60 short, so he's got a jumper that would be kind of a bonus putt. Leaves
a
it
decent
a
bid.
little shy.
Decent bid there, just a little short.
Yep. Brian throws a short step putt that doesn't quite get in, and then I'm left with another 30-footer. So this was in a stretch of holes where I kept throwing it to 30 feet.
Damn, no problem there.
Nope. Couldn't get a step putt to hit chains, but I was making all the 30-footers, so I was able to keep racking up birdies here and there. Jake just really taking his time and lining up that final putt of the front 9. And as we go through it, there's not been a lot of separation in that second place battle. I was able to pull away a little bit, but everyone's still really battling. We had some people on second and third card that were making charges just because it's only a 2-round tournament, so lead card's not separated that much from the chase cards behind them.
Absolutely. So after hole 9 there, we got you still in the lead by a lot. We got definitely have a battle brewing for second place, and we'll see you guys on the back 9.